maybe you and I had better have a little heart-to-heart talk.
Why?
Well, you want to be a real boy, don't you?
Jiminy's Cricket's Corner.
Hey guys, I want to welcome you back to another episode of Jiminy Cricket's Corner. And for those of you guys who are tuning in for the first time, this is a show where I actually have the opportunity to sit down and have a real conversation with you guys about stuff that takes place out here and how to kind of navigate and maybe even shed a little light on what's going on in my life as well. Hoping to inspire you guys and encourage you to make it through your journey a little bit better. So, as you are reading the title of this post, I'm sure that you're kind of thinking to yourself, interesting, huh? And rightfully so, you probably should. I thought it was important that I actually spoke about dealing with certain situations, and not approaching them from an emotional standpoint. Now, like always, you guys, I always try to make sure that I tell you how I feel and what I have experienced going through it, and just how it has affected me from the decisions that I've made within my life. So, if we can go ahead and get this ball rolling. So, I think this is the main thing when you deal with stuff that's happening to you emotionally. Unfortunately, in a lot of instances, it causes us to react in a way or approach the situation in a way that we may not have otherwise done so when thinking with a clear mind or conscience or whatever the case may be. Now, when I first think about somebody dealing with their situations emotionally instead of maybe rationally, the first three emotions that come to my mind are anger, love, and sadness. So I guess let's just go ahead and start with the more widely known one, and that's anger. Now, again, you guys, I always like to throw myself out there first just so you guys can see that you guys are not the only ones. And, I always just feel like it's better if I can also talk about my experiences as well. But I am the one who reacts off of anger sometimes. And you guys, this is not a good thing to do. I know that a lot of times, personally, when I feel like I've been done wrong or somebody has done something wrong to me, I feel like it is now time to react. Now, I'm not one who typically wants to throw hands or fight, for those of you guys who may not quite necessarily understand that terminology. I may not necessarily feel like I have to get even, but a lot of times the anger within me wants to make sure that you know how angry I am. And then a lot of times that in turn will make me react in a certain way or do certain things or whatnot. Sometimes sometimes reacting in a state of anger or bitterness has allowed me to lose friendships or sever really important connections within my life. Anger has maybe allowed me to block blessings that maybe might have been there to benefit me in the long run. Anger has sometimes stopped my growth just simply because I reacted in an angry place. I know now where I'm at in my life, and something that I really want to convey to you all is that a lot of times, like with the other emotions that we're going to talk about on this episode, a lot of times those emotions only last for whatever that time period is. So in the case of anger, somebody may have done me wrong. And of course, fuming, red hot, mad. And of course, naturally, after a while, those feelings of being done wrong or, having to deal with those that inner turmoil eventually kind of subsides after a while. And unfortunately, when you react in that state of anger, you may end up doing things or saying things that you may not necessarily have done otherwise, and you may come to regret it. So what I've learned in my life so far is that although it is hard, because I'm telling you guys, I'm the type of person who feels like I need for you to understand why I'm so upset and angry. Sometimes it's better to just go ahead and wait. So if that means you have to walk away, if that means, you have to scream or yell, in a pillow or in a closed room or whatnot, words hurt. And unfortunately, sometimes when you say those words to people, you can't always take them back. And so, unfortunately, you never want to leave a lasting impression on somebody. I actually had a debate with a couple of friends of mine the other night, and we talked about this, about like the difference between physical and mental and verbal abuse. And my standpoints on it was that it's all can leave an impression. Some may be a little bit more immediate, while others may be a little bit more long lasting. But I think a lot of times we tend to feel like if it's not physical pain, then it's not that bad. It's all right, nothing big, no big deal. But I'm a strong believer in, verbal abuse also hurts as well. A lot of times when you say things, they make a person, how does the term go, or the phrase go, you can't unring that bell. It's once it's out there into the atmosphere, that person now knows that may have been how you felt about them all along, or that may be the true way that you truly feel about them. And although you may just be expressing anger, unfortunately, you can't unring that bell. So again, and also recognizing that you guys, hey, we're not going to get along with everybody. Everybody's not going to have the same thoughts, opinions, views, and perspectives that we do. And I think that's part of what makes this world such a great place. But I think a lot of times when we feel like somebody does not agree with us or have the same outlook as we do, we instantly feel like there's that separation. And then along with that separation sometimes comes anger, because if my way is the right way, then surely your way must be the wrong way. And so I think a lot of times it's hard to be able to intermingle or interact with people whose thought process may not be the same as yours. And so in many ways, you may feel like, okay, well, maybe my anger, or maybe if I do this, or my bitterness towards this person will make me feel better, because now I've made it well known that our vantage points are not the same. You guys, some people just aren't going to agree with you. Some people aren't going to like or think how you think, or all of those things, but that should not stop your process. And neither should anger. So, moving on to the second one, love. Now, personally, this is another one that I'm kind of struggling with at my life as far as now as well. Now, me personally, I am single, but I've also decided to take myself off of the dating scene as of now, because I feel like there's a lot that I need to know and figure out about myself before I call myself trying to jump into a relationship or any type of situation with another individual. I like it because it gives me the opportunity to really dive into who is Dominic, what does Dominic want, learn the good and the bad about myself. So then that way I'll know what I can bring to the table, what I'm worthy of, what I don't want or what I do want in my partner. With that being said, we talk about reacting emotionally, or that's what this video is about. I think it is so sad when I see people allowing themselves to stay in certain situations or jumping out of situations because of love. Now, love, as we all know, like a lot of the other emotions, it is a very powerful emotion. Sometimes it may make us do stuff that under other circumstances we may not have ever done. But I think still learning how to step out of that and to think rationally and to have a level head and sound mind and know how to, separate. It's okay, you know what? Yes, I may be dealing with love right now, but what is going to be beneficial for me? What's going to be beneficial for my family moving forward, And to be able to say, okay, maybe this is how I should carry myself. Maybe this is what I should do. Because again, a lot of times you may choose, like I said, to remain in something or to not remain in something. And that could be emotionally, you could come to that conclusion emotionally because of how strong love may be. And ultimately, I've heard many stories of people maybe regretting a decision or wishing that they may have chose differently, all simply because they were blinded by love. I'm a strong believer in, when it comes down to love, that love should be reciprocated on both parts. I'm sure plenty of you guys have heard of stories where one person may be more invested than the other person. Where one person may be staying because they see something better or that they feel like they can change the other individual, or if they just love them hard enough or support them enough that that person will stay. In my opinion, these are all emotional decisions. Because again, if we're looking at the reality of the situation, if a person is showing you one thing, and again, you guys, if the shoe fits, wear it. If not, then it's not meant for you. But if the person is showing you one thing and you're choosing to believe otherwise, even though this person is telling you one thing, then maybe it's time to look at the reality of the situation. Again, love is great. I always say that if you have the chance to experience what true love is, what really true love is, and what it can do for you, it's like a feeling like none other. To truly be loved by somebody and to be able to give love in return, it literally is a feeling like none other. But at the end of the day as well, you don't want to get involved with someone or with something simply based off of what you may think love is, or the hope that love may ultimately be there for it not to be there. And again, I understand maybe my vantage point may be a little bit different from maybe you guys who are watching, and that's okay. We don't necessarily, like I said earlier, we don't necessarily have to agree with everything, but unfortunately, that's just kind of my standpoints on it. And last but not least, when we talk about sadness, you guys, you know, it's a whole spectrum of emotions that come along with sadness, and a whole lot of different mental diseases or mental health issues that come along that can be kind of derived from sadness. So we're talking depression and loneliness and stuff like that. And I think in many ways, and far be it from me to tell somebody how to deal with their issues. So this is not a judgment call on how you or others may necessarily go about saying and doing and conducting themselves in a certain way. So I just want to make sure that I get that off the table. But just like the other emotions, sadness also is an emotion that we really can dive into and make decisions that may ultimately end up affecting us. I, like all the other ones, have done this as well. I may have I may have let sadness affect my relationship with others. You know, if I was depressed, then I may have reacted or done or not done things to the people that I love or my friends. I may have secluded myself from people who ultimately I love or my friends. I may have reacted to them in ways that they necessarily didn't deserve, all simply because I was dealing with sadness. And unfortunately, when you do things like that, you can ultimately push these people away simply because you may be dealing with an emotion that maybe you yourself don't know how to deal with, or maybe that is kind of hard for you to have to navigate through. I will say this before proceeding on with all of the emotions, and even ones that I'm not going to mention within this, topic or discussion as well. Keep in mind that, in my opinion, the best way to deal with these emotions is not to say just completely neglect them and act like they're not there and move on like a fully formed responsible adult. That's unrealistic. I will say this though: dive into those emotions, sort them out, go through them. If you gotta cry, if you gotta punch, if you gotta whatever it is, go through those emotions, because those emotions are not going to go anywhere. And it's a lot of things that derive from suppressing or trying to ignore or trying to numb those feelings just simply because you don't want to have to deal with them. I know that there are a lot of addictions that come into place or that arise out of not necessarily knowing how to deal with those emotions. Alcoholism, drug use, sex, shopping, food, just to name a few, are some of the things that people sometimes may do when they're not ready to deal with those issues that may have arisen in their life. And although they're not easy to deal with, things like death or a loved one or, friendship or finances, sometimes those are not easy issues to have to deal with. But me personally, you will come to find out that you will benefit in the long run by being able to sit down and sort through those feelings, as hard as it may be sometimes, instead of numbing the pain. Because the reality of it is, if you're alcoholic, no matter how many drinks, if you're a drug addict, no matter how many drugs you take or sex, no matter how many partners or food, no matter how much food or shopping, no matter how much you go shopping, once that experience is done, those problems are still there. until you sort through them. So getting back on sadness, unfortunately, like I said myself, I have to find that time to be able to say, okay, you know what, let's deal with whatever this is. If it's a death in the family, if it's because I'm not where I want to be in life, or if it's because I'm looking at a situation that maybe I'm going through with a friend or a loved one, you have to go through those emotions, because they're not going to go anywhere. So talk them out, write them out, sing them, dance, whatever it is that you do, go through those issues. But I've learned over time that it is unfair to react in certain ways and treat other individuals a certain way just simply because of what I'm going through. My friends may not have anything to do with what's going on in my life financially or with my love life or whatnot. So why am I taking it out on them? Or vice versa. My loved one may not be the cause of what I'm going through with my family. So it's not fair to take it out on them. But a lot of times we end up doing that because we don't really know how to deal with or sort through those feelings. So as I get ready to stop this recording, again, hoping you guys, continue to have a good week and productive out there, I just ask that you guys sit back and ask yourself, is what I'm doing, is this a constructive way to deal with what I'm going through? Am I truly dealing with what the crux is of whatever the issue is that has arisen in my life? The people who I may be interacting with, am I treating them a certain way, or am I not treating them a certain way just simply because I don't know how to deal with those emotions? I think once you ask yourself some of these questions, maybe that may allow you to really sit down and unbox a lot of your feelings about what may happen. I know when I spoke to my friends, and after this I'm gonna let you guys go, I know when I spoke to my friends, a big theme behind psychology and going to see a therapist or a counselor is that there's a strong belief that a lot of the things that we go through in our life, obviously something traumatic has taken place to make wherever it is that we're at right now, okay? And they look at it like a train going off the tracks. Their issue is to now find out exactly where it is that the train went off the tracks, take you back there to go ahead and sort through those feelings and through those emotions that took place with the train going off the track. Because everything that has taken place after the train came off the track is all due in conjunction to you going off track. And that once you can figure it out and deal with whatever those are and whatever emotions come along with those, that's where the healing is, because now we can put you right back on track to where you need to be. So, again, hopefully I helped. Hopefully you guys actually enjoyed, and hopefully you guys continue to keep watching Jiminy Cricket. So I will be hollering at you guys soon. Bye.